Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring something really personal, really powerful, family support, especially when life throws those curveballs.
Yeah, it's a big one. We've been digging into this excerpt from a discussion that really honed in on it.
Exactly. Looking at what it means, why it's so crucial, and, what it actually looks like day to day.
And our mission here is basically to walk you through what this particular source material had to say about it.
Right. We want to pull out the main ideas, the insights, the stories, so you can quickly get a really solid handle on the perspective shared in this conversation.
It's a topic everyone connects with, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And this discussion offered a practical but also quite profound view.
Yeah, it seemed to move beyond just theory.
It really did. It grounded the whole idea of support in tangible actions and real human connection, which is so valuable.
Okay, so let's dive in. How did this discussion actually define family support? It wasn't just one single thing, was it?
No, absolutely not. The piece we looked at was very clear. Okay. Support shows up in lots of different ways.
Like what specifically?
Well, emotional support was big, just having someone listen. Financial support, maybe helping out during a rough patch.
Okay.
And also just, the simple act of being present, whether that's physically being there or just being mentally and emotionally available.
And I thought it was interesting the point that support isn't always about swooping in and fixing everything.
Exactly. The source really stressed that. Sometimes the most improved support is just being there, sitting with someone in their struggle.
It used that analogy, didn't it? The safety net idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. Family is a safety net, not necessarily stopping you from falling, but, cushioning the blow.
Yeah.
Helping you bounce back up.
I like that. And the source also talked about who counts as family, broadening that definition. That feels really relevant now.
Oh, very much so. It explicitly pushed against limiting family just to blood relations.
Right.
It really embraced the idea of a chosen family. That could be friends, neighbors, mentors, teachers, basically anyone who offers that deep care and connection.
So fundamentally, what this source seems to be saying is that support boils down to connection with people who genuinely care, who encourage you.
And crucially, who stick around, who stay put when things get tough.
That seems to be the bedrock, that unwavering presence.
Yes, that's the foundation they're talking about. It's the relationship itself.
And this all really comes alive through the personal stories they shared in the excerpt. There were a couple that really stood out.
One was about someone losing their job quite suddenly.
Right.
And their older sister, instead of lecturing or giving advice, she just called every single day just to listen.
Just presence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then on the practical side, she helped pay for a course that eventually led this person to a new job.
Wow. So that's a perfect mix of emotional and practical support working together.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the source used that story to show how that kind of help can actually rebuild someone's belief in themselves.
Yeah, you can see how that would happen. What was the second story?
The second one involved someone dealing with really bad anxiety during university.
Right.
They called their mom, just completely overwhelmed, breaking down. And the mom, she just stayed on the phone, didn't try to fix it, didn't minimize it.
Just listened.
Just was there through it. And later on, that same support helped them find a therapist and start navigating that whole healing process.
So again, it's that power of quiet presence, not needing to have the answers, but supporting the journey.
Absolutely. And the big takeaway from these stories, according to the discussion, is that being supportive isn't about perfection.
Right.
It's not about having all the answers. It's really about the act of showing up, offering love without conditions, and just being present for someone.
Which leads us nicely into the why. Why does this matter so much? The source explored the impact, didn't it?
It did. It pointed to some really significant psychological benefits.
Such as?
Well, having that support structure family or chosen family, it demonstrably reduces stress. It gives you a sense of strength when you feel weak.
And combats loneliness, I imagine.
Hugely. It fights off those feelings of isolation. There's that quote mentioned.
Oh, the shared joy is double joy.
Shared sorrow is half sorrow. Yes.
Yeah.
Simple, but it really captures that feeling, how support literally lightens the burden.
Yeah.
And the discussion also noted, these are often the people who remind you who you are, remind you of your strengths when you're kind of lost in the difficulty.
And it's not just mental health, right? The source mentioned physical health, too.
Yes, absolutely. The discussion touched on research suggesting strong support systems can act as a buffer against depression, anxiety, and even some physical health problems.
Interesting.
People with strong support networks apparently tend to recover more quickly from illness and just generally manage stress better over the long haul.
And it seems like the source was keen to point out that it doesn't always have to be grand gestures.
No, not at all. Things like cooking a meal, offering a hug, a quick phone call, even just saying the words, "I'm here for you."
Simple things.
Yeah, the discussion framed these seemingly small acts as incredibly meaningful. It's the care behind the action that resonates.
Okay, let's flip the script a bit, as the source might say. What about when you're the one trying to provide support? Did it offer advice there?
It did. And the absolute number one priority, according to this discussion, is listening without judgment.
Being a safe space.
Exactly. A place where someone can just pour out their feelings without fearing criticism or being told they're overreacting or anything like that.
And it specifically warned against certain phrases, right? Things not to say.
Yes, definitely avoid minimizing their pain. Things like, "Oh, it's not that bad," or "look on the bright side," or the classic, "well, others have it worse."
Ugh, yeah, those can feel really invalidating.
They really can. The source highlighted how unhelpful they are because they just make the person feel misunderstood or even guilty for feeling how they feel.
Makes sense. What about practical help?
That came up too. Tangible things, dropping off groceries, watching the kids for a bit, helping run errands. These actions can be really powerful.
Actions speak louder than words sometimes.
The source basically said exactly that. Showing up with action often means more than just saying, "let me know if you need anything."
What about staying in touch, especially if someone seems to be pulling away?
The discussion suggested keeping that connection going with simple, regular check-ins. A quick text, a short message.
Even if they don't reply.
Yeah, even then. It's a gentle reminder that they haven't been forgotten, that someone's thinking of them. It can mean a lot, even if they need space.
And patience seemed important, too.
That's huge. Healing takes time. Processing difficulty takes time. The source really stressed that support isn't a quick fix. It's an ongoing thing.
Like being a steady presence.
Right. They used a nice metaphor. Being the calm in their storm. You're not trying to stop the storm yourself, but you're providing a steady anchor that helps them find their own balance eventually.
Now, the discussion didn't shy away from a tougher aspect. What if that family support? Well, what if it just isn't there?
No, it tackled that head on. It acknowledged the really hard reality that not everyone has supportive biological family.
Some people face the opposite, right? Criticism, neglect.
Or worse, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism, neglect, even abuse. And the source's first recommendation in that situation was really empowering.
Which was?
It was this strong message that it's not just okay, but actually vital to intentionally build your own support system.
The chosen family idea again.
Exactly, making it not just a nice concept, but almost like a survival strategy.
So the underlying message is everyone deserves support, and you can actively seek it out or create it.
Yes, regardless of your family background. And it also pointed towards therapy or counseling as a really crucial professional source of support in those situations.
Were there other suggestions for finding connections?
Yeah, it mentioned things like online communities, maybe volunteer groups, hobby clubs, basically places where you can connect with like-minded people who might offer that kindness and understanding.
And it seemed to end that section on a hopeful note.
Very much so. The core idea was that even if biological family support is missing, that doesn't have to stop healing or growth. You're not alone, and there is hope and help out there.
The discussion excerpt we reviewed also folded in some stories from listeners which really grounded these ideas.
Yeah, those were powerful. There was one from Anika in India. Her father passed away, and her younger brother, who was also grieving.
He stepped up.
He completely stepped up, became her rock, took care of all the practical things. Just incredible strength in that sibling bond.
Wow. And then there was Daniel in Brazil.
Right. He lost his job, lost his house during the pandemic, had to move back in with his parents.
That must have been tough.
Incredibly tough. But the discussion highlighted how his parents reacted. No judgment. Just welcomed him, gave him unconditional space and support.
Which gave him time to recover.
Exactly. Time and the courage to start over again. These stories, as the source pointed out, they just beautifully show how family love in that broad sense can be that vital safe harbor.
Bringing light in dark times.
Yeah, they really underscore the concepts with real human experience.
So let's try and pull this all together. The source we dug into actually listed 4 key takeaways about family support, didn't it?
It did, quite explicitly. First, support isn't monolithic. It comes in many forms. Emotional comfort, practical help, physical presence, just being available.
Okay, takeaway 1.
Second, You don't need to be the hero who solves everything. Simply being there, listening non-judgmentally, showing you care that is hugely significant.
Got it. Number 3.
Third, if your family of origin isn't supportive, you absolutely have the right and the ability to build your own support circle, your chosen family.
A crucial point. And the last one.
Fourth, show appreciation. Don't wait. Those simple words, thank you, I love you, to the people who support you. They matter more than we often realize.
And the source wrapped up with a kind of final thought on the why, linking it all back to relationships.
Yeah, basically saying that ultimately, it's not the job titles, the money, the stuff.
Yeah.
It's our connections with people that help us survive and truly thrive through life's ups and downs.
That really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And interestingly, the discussion also paused to look at some specific language used.
Ah, yes, the phrases. Like safety net.
Right, meaning that person or thing that helps out when things go wrong, a backup.
And breakdown.
Used to describe getting really emotional, often to the point of crying, being overwhelmed.
Show up. That seemed important.
Yeah, emphasizing the act of choice, being present, being reliable, being there when someone needs you.
Flip the script.
Meaning to change the usual pattern, like challenging a negative thought or reacting differently than expected.
And the big one, chosen family.
That network you intentionally build.
Mm-hmm.
People not related by blood, but who function like family, providing that deep support.
And looking at how those terms were used, like the source did, it really helps you grasp the nuances, the kind of emotional weight in their conversation.
Definitely gives you a richer feel for their perspective.
So, okay, we've journeyed through this source material. We've looked at its definition of support, the real life stories, why it matters so much, how to offer it, what to do when it's missing, heard more stories, and unpacked the key takeaways and language.
Yeah, it's clear this discussion sees support systems as absolutely fundamental, not just a nice to have.
And the really encouraging message threaded through it all is that these vital connections, they can be found or they can be intentionally built.
Absolutely. There's agency there.
So as you're thinking about everything the source shared, especially that point about building your own support system and how relationships are what help us thrive, here's something to consider. Maybe mull over this week.
Okay.
What's one small, concrete step you could take? Maybe to strengthen a supportive relationship you already have, or perhaps to reach out to nurture a connection with someone who could potentially become part of your own chosen family.